Previously on the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. Perhaps we should leave Mr. Vigil in peace for a little while. He's only just been admitted. No, I'm going there anyway. Oh, there he is. Man, that sound, though. Oh, the lawyer. Hello again. Alright, let's get back to it. Hey guys, welcome back to Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. In the last video, man, we talked to a bunch of people, didn't really investigate anything, but we got some more information. Mikitoba freaked out when we brought up the name Shin, and Holmes was just being his usual weird self, coming and going. He gave us a telegram or whatever to send to Japan for some reason, for some urgency, and also Mikitoba asked us to join him to go back to Japan after we were done with this case. But the question remains whether or not our friends will get to come with us, or are we going to stay here? Will I have to make that decision? I don't know. How crazy would it be if they made a game like this and there were two case 5s, and like you actually had to choose which one to do by making that choice? Cheer. Man. And what if they like tied into each other like Oracle of Ages and Seasons, you know, where you had to play both of them to whatever and you get a different ending based on which one you did first? Jeez. There's a game right there. I'll make that game someday. Maybe I will. I probably won't. Anyway, back to it, the lawyer. Hello again. This guy jumped out of a window and tried to end his life. So, let's be careful when we, talk to him here. Are you feeling better now, Mr. Vigil? Yeah, thank you. Somewhat better. I'm so sorry I've caused you to... it was because of me. If I hadn't exposed your secret and forced you to remember things you'd obviously tried to forget. The prosecutor was here until a few moments ago, too. You just missed him. Really? Cosmo beat us to it. God, what did he tell you? What did he say? He said much the same as you. He was very apologetic. Well, that's good. But the truth is, I brought all this upon myself. Please don't think like that. I don't mean to laugh, but sometimes these poses are just so funny. The way they build up to it so extravagantly, and then they stop in some random pose, it's like, I was looking kinda dumb with my left hand and my right hand in the shape of an L next to my face. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry! Keeping it from Evie, my wife, all these years, I've carried such a sense of guilt. I'm surprised she hasn't evolved into an Umbreon by now. But that's not the worst of it. Over time, I obviously came to deceive myself as well. Well, don't we all, to some extent? You mean about your dismissal? No. Yes, looking back now, I'm beginning to think that perhaps Inspector Gregson didn't stumble across me by accident at all. He compensated me so generously for acting as his stand-in. He was clearly concerned for my well-being and doing what he could do to help. So perhaps Gregson knew exactly what had become of Mr. Vigil all along then. I would have to think so. I wouldn't be surprised if he was physically there for the execution and maybe... Well, that's the thing, though. How many people would have been there and been able to see what happened, though? I'm sure this is just deserved for 10 years of lies and deception, but... it wasn't me that helped the professor escape 10 years ago. It wasn't me. I swear it. I swear it's true. Oh, Mr. Vigil. That topic did get brought up, that possibility that he was, framed or something. Let me see. I'm sure you'd rather not dredge up even more from your past at this time, but... if possible, you tell us exactly what really happened. Still got the mark on his neck and everything. I need to get all this off my chest. I just want someone to tell me what I should have done. Gregson's request. Inspector Gregson was obviously engaged in a special operation of some sort. He was investigating something that even Scotland Yard couldn't know about. Details of the Reaper's marks, yes. It was when he had to carry out those investigations that I would take his identification and impersonate him. You'd pretend to be the inspector and carry out investigations on his behalf. Oh no, never! A common street peddler couldn't possibly carry out a proper police investigation. All I would do is go to the specified location and make a little hoo-ha. Just something to leave an impression, so everyone there would think a detective called Gregson was here. For the alibi, yeah. So that's what you were doing on the day prior to the incident? Yeah. He asked me to make an appearance at the park on Lime Street for the Red-Headed League event. So as usual, I flashed the inspector's identification around and was very vocal about my presence. But then you were taken prisoner by those red-headed fraudsters. Yeah. Boy, I never would have guessed that it would have been that. Like, all that. So you would always make a point of showing Gregson's identification and generally being loud. Does not seem like you. That's what the inspector asked me to do, yes. I'm not very good at it, though. Well, that's one way of becoming a legendary detective, I suppose. Not a good one, though. And as you know, I suffered this bruising around my neck at their hands. But the following day, they kept their word and released me. Without returning the inspector's identification to you, however. We had arranged to meet in the Fresno Street room at 5 that day so I could report back to the inspector. But at the agreed time, that's when I heard the gunshot. Jeez. That's a very well-timed gunshot. If it was firecrackers on a candle, like, how can they set that up to go off at exactly 5? I sure don't know. I guess if you... I guess if you did enough experiments, you could work it out, maybe, but... Ooh, the prison escape. Would like to know more about this. It was at midnight on the 17th of June 10 years ago. That was the time scheduled for the execution. But the professor's execution never actually took place, did it? Or rather, the execution itself must have been used to effect the plan of escape. I hardly dare to imagine what a chilling plan it was. Yeah, it involved a lot of running and wearing capes. Barclay was renowned for being the highest security prison in the country. Everything that went in or out of the place was searched multiple times. But there was one notable exception. Or rather, one notable loophole. Something that was never questioned. Okay. I have a feeling I know what that loophole was now. The coffins into which the bodies of the executed convicts were placed, correct? Huh. Yes. Once the coroner had confirmed the death of a condemned convict, the body was taken in its coffin for immediate burial in Lowgate Cemetery just behind the prison. The chief warder first had to sign the necessary papers, and after that, no member of staff was permitted to touch the coffin containing the body again. Man. When executions took place, only the executioner and the coroner were permitted inside the chamber. Okay. I would wait in the adjacent room for word that the condemned convict was dead. On that occasion, once I had that confirmation, I went into the mortuary to find a lone coffin, as usual. The procedure was that I would sign the paperwork, having checked the coffin, then nail it shut. But for some reason that day, the coffin was already nailed shut. Huh. That is so scary, though. Especially if, like, the plan was for him to go out still alive. I didn't think anything of it at the time. I assumed that my deputy must have checked the coffin and nailed it shut before I arrived. So you mean the coffin contained... Yes, I can only imagine that Asogi, having escaped his execution somehow, was alive inside the coffin. The coffin was then taken out through the main gates and deposited in Lowgate Cemetery. Presumably, there wouldn't have been enough air inside to breathe for long. So in the early hours following the burial, somebody dug up the coffin again to set Genshin free. Wow, jeez. But in the end, he was fatally shot in the graveyard anyway. What on earth really happened in Lowgate Cemetery that night, I wonder? I'm afraid I really don't know. All I can say with certainty are two things. Asogi couldn't possibly have escaped that way without help from somebody working in the prison. And that somebody was not me. Okay. Obviously you knew the man then? The professor, I mean? Genshin Asogi? Yes, I remember him well, in fact. Would you mind telling us what you know? Well, having been condemned to death as he was, any contact I had with the man was short, obviously. After that trial, which was carried out behind closed doors, attended only by elite members of the judiciary, they called for his execution to be carried out at the earliest possible opportunity. The outcome of the trial was set from the beginning, wasn't it? Man, it was a time of delicate diplomacy when Britain and Japan were in the process of signing an important treaty. That meant that this potentially destabilizing case had to be dealt with swiftly and discreetly. Yeah. Makes sense, though. He wouldn't want word to get out. The man had less than a week in total, and I was the chief warder. I oversaw his short stay in the cells until his final hour. I remember being struck deeply by his noble character and incredible resilience. What do you mean exactly? So we just found out from, like, Van Zeeks that he saved his life, so... what's going on here? He was a killer of many men, but he was always quiet and polite. He was a gentleman and a man of intellect. In fact, I couldn't bring myself to believe what he'd done, so I asked him one day. Oh my gosh. Those 5 members of the aristocracy whose lives were taken, were you really responsible? The professor just doesn't even have a voice. You just have to read it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm guilty of the unforgivable crime of ending another human's life. That's not good. Just give him like a goofy voice. It'd be funny. The following day, the closed trial took place, and the verdict was no surprise. Let me just... Okay, so he says he's guilty of ending another human's life. But he didn't say how many. So... closed trial took place, the verdict was no surprise. Guilty. Guilty! Guilty! That night, when he was brought back to his cell, I saw something in his eyes. Unusual? Wait a minute. Something unusual? Did he look different? The last will and testament of Genshin Asogi. Wow, I knew it was going to say that. Jeez. Well, he showed it to you? You must have become pretty good friends then, if he's... As I said, it was on the night following his trial, after he'd been found guilty. I was doing the rounds of the cells, and when I looked into Asogi's, I noticed that he seemed to have a sheet of paper in his hand. Hang on a second. No. Remember that thing with, like, that guy Selden? Where, like, there was a... what? So I was gonna say, I wonder if this is, like, connected to that, but we already know that Shamspear was the other prisoner, or the other guy. So, like... But it's kind of funny how it seems like this is paralleling that a little bit. Maybe just a little bit. His last will and testament, then, presumably. As soon as he noticed me, he hurriedly shoved it behind his back. Probably just didn't want to talk about it. But why did you find that so unusual? Isn't it normal for a man to pen a will when he knows his death is nigh? Yeah, that's true, but there were special conditions to Asogi's incarceration, you see. Sort of conditions. Well, even though he was held in a cell designed for condemned inmates, he was also allowed to DoorDash from in there. Or, I mean, keep his personal effects with him. With one exception. Really? He was allowed his things? That is unusual. Especially if one of those things happens to be a rock hammer. Of course he'd been convicted of killing 5 members of the aristocracy. But at the same time, he was a guest in our country from the Empire of Japan. The powers that be were determined that his final days shouldn't be needlessly uncomfortable. And what was the exception you mentioned to the personal effects he was allowed? That's the point. He wasn't permitted to have writing materials. Oh. So he couldn't even... Specifically, no pens or paper. So he was prevented from leaving any written record of what had happened to him. But there's still a record, and it's in this guy's memory. Yeah, that was the long and short of it. Wait a minute. Is that a phone call? Oh, they just dropped off my, my HelloFresh box. Yay. I should probably go grab that. It's been pretty hot lately, so don't want that food to be spoiling. Yes, that was the long and short of it. I have no idea where he obtained that paper. Any writing materials would have been confiscated from him upon his incarceration. As I said, he hid the paper behind his back, and then he pleaded with me. What did you just hide behind your back? I'm kind of deliberately making him sound a little more confident here, as this before it all happened. Please, please turn a blind eye. This is my lifeline. But you know it's against the rules. You're the only person who's seen. If you just agree to keep quiet. Alright then. But what's on that paper? A last will and testament, yeah. This will is the only weapon I have left now. But, like, who could he have given it to... Like, somebody at some point would have had to read the will, get the stuff, and give it to the person he intended for it to go to. But was it him? Was it this guy that did that, then? How can a will be a weapon? Because where there's a will, there's a way! So I decided to pretend I'd seen nothing, and I let him keep his will. But then later... it just seemed to vanish without trace. I mean, they didn't want him to have paper, so... It would seem that isn't the end of the story of this mysterious will. Oh my gosh. Well, now it's Goodwill Hunting time, I guess. I was the only person who saw Sogi's will, but it somehow disappeared. It was after Sogi's execution, which was actually an elaborate jailbreak. The warders gathered up Asogi's possessions that were in his cell. They were all to be sent back to his family home in Japan, you see. Oh, so... to poor Kazuma-sama? And you're saying that it wasn't anywhere to be found among his personal effects? The will, I mean. That's right. Though I didn't search through them myself. But Governor Caden was livid. He was screaming. And can I have disappeared completely? That sounds like him. That doesn't quite make sense though, does it? In what way? Well, we'd understood that only Mr. Vigil was aware of the will's existence. In which case, how did the prison governor know to look for it? Huh. Yeah, you're right. Okay. I really don't know how he knew. But it certainly seemed as though he knew of the will's existence from the outset. Only he didn't refer to it as a will. What he said was... the Asogi papers. I really can't tell you anything of the subsequent events. Because, well, of what happened. Your dismissal and the way you blocked it all out, yeah. I'd forgotten all this until today. I don't suppose it's relevant to the case, though. Well, anyway, thank you very much for sharing it with us, Mr. Vigil. We're very grateful. So do we need to go talk to the other guy, then? Maybe He would know something about it? I'm afraid the deflector shield will be quite operational when your friends arrive. My wife Evie will be here shortly, so I do hope I don't appear rude, but... No, not at all. Thank you again. But what will become of you now? I'll just go back to peddling, probably. Impersonating a police officer is a criminal offense, of course. I imagine that once I'm fully recovered, I shall be arrested. Man, I'm so sorry. Ugh, don't be, please. This is all my own doing. I always knew that this day would come. Again? What the heck, dude? Sorry, it's my phone keeps going off, I tell ya. I always knew this day would come. Well, I wish you well. Goodbye, Mr. Vigil. And we never saw him again. Ah! Before you go, there's just one thing. Oh, yes, what is it? I did feel like that was a little bit underwhelming, like there was... The Asogi papers. I have them. I'd be very grateful if you'd make no mention of the things I told you about them. Presumably for some good reason. Well, yeah, because obviously somebody was trying to hide them for some reason. So if it came out that somebody else knew about them, like, that wouldn't be good for us or for him. It's my understanding that their very existence is a closely guarded secret. There you go. That's like the third time now that's happened today. I've said something and then they just said it a second later. If it became known that I'd remembered, well, it wouldn't be good for either of us. Yeah. I understand. Miyagi understand. Some sort of will that Genshin Asogi penned just before his death, which the man himself claimed was his last weapon. I wonder. Perhaps it had something to do with his plan to escape. If there's anyone who might know more about a document that Kazuma's father left behind, Kazuma himself. Oh, yeah, well, I guess maybe that too. We know precisely where we must go. Back to Barclay Prison. Oh, God, man, this poor guy. I can't even present anything to him. I should have done it when I had a chance. Oh, I hope there wasn't anything funny to see there. Well, wait. I could examine him. Maybe it would let me... Here, can you stand up again? I'm so sorry. Well, at least he seems to be on the mend. You know, his disguise as Mr. Gossip was really quite masterful, wasn't it? I can't remember anything about it except for the floppy lip. I imagine not even his wife would have recognized him. Perhaps. But did he really have to take it quite so far? You do what you gotta do. In a disguise. I tried to disguise myself once, because I knew my sister was taking a field trip down to a park that was like just down the block from where we lived. So I went down there, like, I don't even remember what I was wearing, but I was riding like a stuffed plushie pony that was like about half my size. I was just going down there messing around, and eventually one of the teachers came up and said, "You gotta go." Probably thought I was like some kind of pervert or something. But I was like, no, I was 19 at the time, and all the kids were like 14, so yeah, I can see why they were concerned though. Oh yeah, I just examined the cabinet, but we'd already seen that dialogue. Were these here before? I'm pretty sure they were. Oh look, a pair of crutches. Before we came to Britain, I hadn't realized they were used here as well. So what do you think they used? Springs? I imagine they were imported into Japan from Great Britain in the first place. Oh, so no one in all of Japan broke a leg before their arrival. Anyway, the sight of these things doesn't bring back good memories for me. I've never had to use those, and I feel lucky that I haven't, because I've seen people with them. Oh dear, did you injure yourself once and need to use some? When I was little, I thought they looked fun, so I borrowed a pair to play with. But then I slipped and sprained my ankle. You actually injured yourself by using crutches. That's amazing. They contain powerful magic, those wooden staffs. The power to heal and the power to harm, baby. I think a certain cheeky little boy managed to cause the harm all by himself. Oh, that's great. Alright, to the prison. To the wench. Wait, no, not the prison. No, I mean Barclay Prison, not... Yeah, the other prison. Hang on a second. Prison Governor's Office. Okay, I wasn't reading. Oh, jeez, that clock, though. I actually wouldn't mind having a clock like that. That looks cool as hell. Except I would want it to have hands. Hey, straight back, what's up? Oh, back again, are you? Oh no, don't remember what voice I had for you. I gotta stop talking about that. I've heard all about your investigations. I read the report just now. You found him, eh? Vigil? Yes, luckily. Well, anywho, the laddie doesn't work here no more, so your case is not to do with Barclay. I would not like you to kindly get the fuck out of here. Of course, yes, I will get out of here now. Mr. Vigil stopped working here 10 years ago now, so... Yes, we've seen his dismissal notice, haven't we? He was given the chop. Aye, Kimma, you can very well, so how about a wee handcuff biscuit? Oh, they really are like little handcuffs. They're little footballs. Laces out! I make that reference too often. So what's brought you down here today? Well, there's something else we'd like to ask you about, actually. Is that so? What if this guy did it? I don't even know what did it even means anymore. Jeez. We believe there might have been a document that disappeared from Genshin Asogi's cell. I think it's been called... He's just bringing it up to him! I thought we were, like, not supposed to do that, but... Oh, man. Yeah, this is not gonna go well. You better be wearing a ski mask or something, because you're about to get punched. Did I not say, Gregson's death is not to do with things that might have happened in Barclay? Leave the past in the past, laddie. Let's not foot about with irrelevant details. His expressions changed completely, and he's combing his hair. Yeah. Should go one of those spider things, give yourself a head massage. We're clearly onto something here. Alright, conversation time. 10-year-old legacy. What do we got? That murderer's botched execution, and the whole miserable escape. They were Barclay's darkest hour, aye. A shocking embarrassment. Because the convict had a collaborator on the prison staff, you mean? Yeah, that's right. Aye, for shame. The coroner who confirmed the death of the man after his execution, Courtney Sy. And my chief warder at the time, Vigil, who was in charge of the whole affair. Man. But Mr. Vigil says he didn't know anything about it. So yeah, because I forgot, like, Scythe would have still been, you know, not arrested at that time, because that was 10 years ago. So, like... It's like, did she know something? Maybe, I don't know. You rascal wouldn't say otherwise, eh? More handcuffs? Oh, how could I say no? You can never have too much iron in your diet. When Mr. Vigil was handed his dismissal notice as a result of what had happened, he was so despairing he jumped out of your office window, didn't he? I didn't like to say, but that's just Vigil trying to get out of it. You don't think he wouldn't have jumped from the shock of his crimes being exposed, eh? I do. You wouldn't say otherwise, though, would you? Huh. Of course I can shun all responsibility myself. I shouldn't have let him deceive me. Actually, there's barely anybody that kens what went on at the time now. With Gregson having been murdered, and Dr. Scythe forbidden from having any visitors. No visitors? Someone obviously doesn't want her giving anything away. Well, we're not going home empty-handed. And I wouldn't dream of sending you packing with no Kimma. Yeah, take a handcuff or two. Oh, well, it would be rude to say no. Wouldn't want to become anemic. Anemic? I suppose if there's anybody who might still ken about what happened back then, it'd be that lass from the Forensic Division, Mariah Gori. Have we heard that name before? Forensic Division. Oh, is there any chance that was the person with Scythe? I keep bringing her up, but like, she was too well designed of a character to just have a 5-second cameo here. Scythe's daughter? She didn't have no more, just the one. But the wee bairns followed in her mom's footsteps. You didn't ever see her without a scalpel in her hand. Ah. Yeah, I remember. I remember. Mama, what is this? Oh, where did she spring from? And did she just call the doctor Mama? There's gonna be some super sad moment involving her later. Dr. Scythe's daughter, Mariah Gorey. We could do with talking to her. Gorey? That's a hell of a name. So she's Dr. Scythe's daughter, but her surname is Gorey? Aye, there's some family history, I'm sure, but I deny ken the ins and outs of it. She grew up watching her mom working with the bodies of folk who died in strange circumstances, and decided to do the same with her own life. How can I understand it myself? Perhaps she was driven by a deep respect for her mother? Perhaps. Anywho, she was in charge of Gregson's autopsy, I believe. Oh, right, because now their mom can't do it anymore, she just took over. Coroner responsible for this incomplete report. Somebody told me once that you had a girlfriend who looked like a boyfriend that I dated in February of last year. Anyway, the wee lassie always loved her man's stories about cutting up bodies. Ugh. There's even a rumor that she used to listen to the funeral march as a lullaby. Wow, they're building this chick up to be something. Well, then perhaps her mother might have told her about the autopsy from the case 10 years ago. I'd say there's a fighting chance at least. After all, that was a life-changing case for all of us. We really need to speak to Miss Gorey herself about this, I think. Yeah, like, I don't know why I was saying the stuff like Cosmo would know about it, because it never got to him, obviously. It disappeared, so... The thing is, I can't help but think, like, maybe the reason it disappeared is because someone got it and sent it to him, but I don't know. Well, thank you very much. Oh, I'm no happy about any part of this. It took years for Londoners to finally forget the whole professor business. Can you no get up on this, laddie? Stop asking pointless questions. Sorry, I don't like dredging up these painful memories for everyone. Can you no just stay away, no? Leave me alone and didn't I come back here, eh? That's what you said last time. But wait a minute, there's more! How'd you come to ken about that, laddie? There's no many folk even here in the prison who've heard of those papers. Ah, well, I can't tell him, Mr. Vigil told me. There's not a lot of other ways we could have found out, so that's why I was worried that we told him in the first place. I'm afraid our sources must remain confidential, sir. Oh, all two of them? Okay, I'll just go kill them both then. We've been led to believe the papers are actually a last will and testament. Is that right? The professors, or rather, Genshin Asogi's? He ain't moved. I don't know why I love this guy's design so much. It's just so chunky and... but, like, he just looks very solid. Like, you know, there's no way... I don't know. Aye, that's right. You're well informed, Jimmy. Jimmy?! Oh, was that the end of the silent treatment? But then, after the convict's execution, it mysteriously vanished from his cell, didn't it? Others, no, you're often half-cocked there. I think you did not quite get your facts straight. It's right here. I have it. It was there in the cell, exactly where it should have been. Oh. Not what we heard elsewhere. Uh-oh. You know, I'd be lying to say the thought didn't cross my mind that Vigil could have been lying. Or, like, still hiding something, but man, I don't want to believe that, but, you know, you can't really rule anybody out 100% for sure. Let me just have a wee hulk around in here. I'm sure I can find it. Ding. That was a good ding, wasn't it? Aye, here you are. See? Is that them? What?! I didn't expect that to be so easy! Of course I can't read a word of these Japanese squiggles. But I mind it says he leaves all its worldly possessions to his son back in his homeland. Well, shouldn't that have been sent to him then? Yes, that's correct. That's the gist of it. Yeah, she can read it. I mean, I can too, I guess. So these are the Asogi papers. Man. Aye, of course they are. Papers written by Asogi, no doubt about it. Are they? Sure they're not fake? There's no mystery here, laddie. That's your lot. Maybe he's just giving this to us to shut us up and it's not the real thing? After all these dramas of that... Because it seems weird that he would just give it to us, I don't know. After all these dramas of that slave sort of an execution, we sent the man's possessions back to his clan in Japan, and that was the end of it. Okay, so they honored the will and sent the possessions back. Was there any reason to send the will back? Maybe not. But also, well, I guess it would be a document, you'd have to keep it. I think we ought to make a record of this, Mr. Naruhodo, just in case. Wow, man, okay. One thing before you go on your way, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh. These conversations always end with some big ass pull, so let's see what the ass pull is now. Those papers are not to do with Gregson's death. I'd prefer it if you did not make no mention of them outside of this office. Or rather, I would prefer it. Consider it an order from the highest levels of our government. I understand. Ugh. But you're not going to be there in the courtroom to stop me, so let me tell you. It's going to come up. We're going to present this as evidence, and the whole world's going to see the last will and testament of Genjin Asogi that Mr. Vigil claims disappeared after the convict's execution. Like, because I can't help but think it might be something as simple as, like, somebody picked up the will, read what it said, and then put it somewhere, intending to go back later to get the stuff, because maybe the post office was closed for the day, I don't know. Apparently Mr. Asogi described it as the only weapon I have left. Oh, okay. I, Genshin Asogi, hereby request that upon my death, any and all material possessions and wealth belonging to me in London be delivered to my son Kazuma in the Empire of Japan. It is with deep sadness that I accept my fate in this foreign land, in the knowledge that I will never see my homeland or family again, but I regret nothing about my chosen path. Jeez. How must it feel to write something like that? Huh. Well, move along, I guess. I suppose we go back to Lord Chief Justice's office. There's always something going on here. Oh, hello. How are these two boys doing? How my boys doing? Where's Supreme Court? Lord Chief Justice? His office? No arguments, Professor Asogi. Prosecutor Asogi, not Professor. You aren't the professor, are you? You will continue with the trial exactly as I instructed. Is that clear? Perfectly. Man, I bet Asogi just really wants to in this guy's face. And maybe also, you know, find Lord Strongheart by the sound of it. He never did know when to back down. Well, hey guys. We weren't doing anything. No. This is just fine. On your way now, Asogi. My lord. Those were not their voices. I don't care. Ah, hello. Jeez. Kazuma, are you okay? He didn't say anything. He left without saying a word. So they kept saying that thing about him being possessed. I mean, at the very least, I think it's possible he may be under somebody's thumb here. I can't imagine whose. Like, I'm at the point now, like, I feel like if this guy was the big bad, that would be too obvious. And I almost think I might be disappointed if it is him. But I don't know. Maybe it will be. Yes, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I was just hoping to ask you a few questions. If you wouldn't mind. Hi, I wanted Van Zink's trial concluded today. You stubborn asshole. But Prosecutor Asogi's unwelcome inquiries are going to make it take longer than necessary. Unwelcome inquiries? Just trying to find out the truth, man. As a result, I'm losing even more precious time. Currently 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 41 seconds. 42, 43, 44? We must resolve everything before 3 hours have passed, Mr. Naruhodo. In a miraculous not even 5 minutes? Don't think it's gonna happen. Anyway, I can't let the man's obvious bad mood put me off. I need info. And I need it now. Call J.G. Wentworth. 877 INFO. The Reaper. Does Prosecutor Asogi believe that Lord Van Zieks is the Reaper? No, but I do. I wouldn't know. It was 10 years ago, in that fateful closed trial, that Lord Van Zieks made a name for himself among the judiciary. But the next trial he fought, he lost. It meant the ringleader of a criminal organization was acquitted, thanks to all the jurors being under duress. That's awful. Gee, that kind of is. The man's freedom was short-lived. He lasted just 3 days. Yeah, let me see. He died in a rock slide at his place of work, I believe. I'm glad she didn't smile as she said that. Usually she does, but it's nice they took the time to not, just not use the animation and do nothing else with it. Correct, that was the inauguration of the Reaper of the Bailey. His inauguration. That's a hell of a word. So, and people believed Lord Van Zieks was responsible? He was brought to trial himself, but it was shown to have been an accident. So he must have had a solid alibi then. Nevertheless, the mysterious deaths continued. Like, you don't even need an alibi for that. You could have set dynamite up to explode later on. I don't know. Well, did they have dynamite back then? Oh, jeez. In total, 16 persons perished in unusual circumstances, ostensibly at the hand of the Reaper. That's a long run of coincidences. Yes, it is. But, well, the Reaper's true identity may well be revealed by this trial. And the impact that revelation would have on the British public cannot be understated. Is that why it's a closed trial? Yeah, like, they're trying to keep the peace between... I understand that, totally. Closed trial. This is going by faster than I thought. This country hasn't seen a closed trial for 10 years. So the last one was the Professor, the trial of Kenshin Asogi. Yup. Actually, we heard that originally you were going to prosecute that trial yourself, Lord Strongheart. Yeah, that's right. Van Zieks then treated me to relinquish the prosecution to him, that he might avenge his brother's death. And here we are, 10 years later. With the son of the man Van Zieks had condemned now looking to avenge his father's death in the same way. Yeah, it's complicated. They do say that what goes around comes around. Well, yeah, I'd sure love to be there when it does. However, it would seem that the new young prosecutor is harboring some ulterior motive as well. Kazuma is? I like my organization to run smoothly in the exact manner that I prescribe. In the pharmacy. As with the giant clock in here, I won't tolerate a single cog being out of step with the others. Those gears over there, if they get out of sync, I kick their asses with my fists, because fighting is good against steel. So that's what all these gears are about in here. If the young man refuses to mesh with the other parts of my great machine, I will be forced to take steps. What do you mean? I mean, I'll do the same thing to him I did to Van Zieks. It's a vicious cycle, I tell you. Not something with which you need concern yourself. He's my best friend, it is my concern. In any case, all your questions will be answered tomorrow. Tomorrow? Tomorrow? But I want to go home now! Now, I shall have to ask you to excuse me. Did we beat the 3-hour mark? At this moment, I've been delayed from attending my next meeting by precisely 3 hours. Oh my, that is a long time. That's a close call, man. That's like a photo finish right there. And I hold you entirely responsible. Even though we miraculously managed to fit everything into not even 5 minutes. I wonder if you might agree to us, talking with Prosecutor Asogi. Say what you want, man. I don't care about him. Discussions between the defense and the prosecution outside of the courtroom are generally frowned upon. However, I will make an exception in this case, because that would be more interesting for the game. Now go, you can find him in his office. In his office? Well, that's you gave him a nicer place than Van Zieks did. Van Zieks just sat him down at a table and put a cloak on him. You gave him a whole office? Like, I don't know, man. Maybe you're the good guy after all. Let's go see him at once, Mr. Naruto. Yes, let's. Kazuma's my best friend in the world, but I'm really not at all sure I know how to talk to him at this moment. Yeah, I didn't get to present to him either. New location. Oh my. Oh my, I want to see this place. Wait a minute, he got Van Zieks' old office? What are you giving Bob's old office? Bob's office is bigger than my office! If you can name that movie, you're crazy. Alright, let's go. Oh my gosh, dude. Man, it almost looks... For a second, it looked like his head was cut off. Watch there be a cutscene where the head does get ripped off. Oh my god! Oh, sorry, sir, I didn't see you playing with your dolls again. This is the office of Prosecutor Asogi now, is it? Aww. Kazuma-sama is doing so well for himself. Yeah. But at whose expense? Even though he's always forced to kneel on the floor Japanese style in that dark corner. It's his habit to seize a style whenever he's working. Don't question it. Oh, hi there. Kazuma. Did you hear me come in? Sorry, I just, you know... The door is very quiet. Very well oiled, just like the rest of this machine. I thought it wouldn't be long before you paid me a visit, Ryunosuke. I know. I was right about what I said, wasn't I? Sorry? That you have all the makings of a great defense lawyer. So he's like smiling at me. Dude, this is so nice! Why do I love this guy? Well, I always believed that you'd fulfill your dream of advocating in the British courts. One way or the other. Just never imagined for 1 second that it would be as a prosecutor. Well, you never know. Ugh, I don't mean to keep flipping off like this, and I keep screaming. He was almost screaming. Seeing you stand in a foreign courtroom so gallantly realizing your dream, Kazuma. I'm truly happy for you. And I'm truly thankful to you, Judicial Assistant Mikotomo. Well, now that we got the ass-kissing out of the way, Ryunosuke, it's time for the conversation to get very unpleasant. I always thought it would be fun for you and I to shake up the British legal system a little together. Well, that's what we're doing. This isn't quite how I envisioned it. I suppose it's just another twist of fate. Like the Jeff Buckley song. Is that Jeff Buckley? Actually, I think it was Concrete Blonde. Anyway, I've learned a lot of things during my time in London. About how Susato-san's father was himself... Oops, wrong voice. I've learned a lot of things during my time in London. About how Susato-san's father was himself a visiting student here once, along with Judge Jigoku. And... about what happened with your father. Then you'll have no difficulty understanding why I had no choice, why I had to find a way to get to Britain as a visiting student myself. I want to hear it from you, Kazuma. Right here, right now. Let's lay it all out. As you wish, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Timothy Bishop here, and... oh! Wow, that was in a weird pause. Okay, I'm gonna present first, before I get into conversation, so that I don't lose him and not get a chance to do this. Oh, do I want to do this? Oh, God. If I present that to him, what would he say? I'm gonna do it. Kazuma, what do you make of this? I don't know what that is. There's only one place where defense lawyers and prosecutors should discuss evidence. The courtroom. So it seems, you're still confused by the situation. That's what I make of it. I get a feeling my friend's always going to have the edge over me. Yeah, we weren't meant to present that, but I guarantee you there has to be something there. I'll try everything else just to see. The Reaper. At last I get to take my revenge. I just presented the picture of Gregson on the floor. To take my revenge. Kazuma. Lord Van Zeeks isn't responsible for your father's death. He's not the Reaper. He's the defendant and deserving of a fair trial. You mean like the one my father had? Oh, man. It's a close trial now, too. The conditions are exactly as they were 10 years ago. I'd love to get this guy and Judge Jigoku together, because Jigoku spoke out in defense of his father and almost got in trouble for it, so yeah, they might have a few things to talk about. And even if it ruffles some feathers, I have a plan to show that man for what he really is. Kazuma. He was my enemy too at some point, but This came up in the trial, didn't it? As something a little dubious, I mean, the autopsy report. The fact that no time of death was recorded on Inspector Gregson's autopsy report. Yeah, there were some unexpected turns in the courtroom earlier. The suggestion you came up with certainly took everyone by surprise. The idea that the victim died the previous day at some other location is quite something. If I'd known that could happen, I would have done it myself. Well, considering what if he is the killer? Oh my god, can you imagine? Well, considering when the pocket watch had stopped and the scorch marks on the candle, it's certainly a distinct possibility. The evidence and the scene both point to it. Huh. That's also a new pose, I think. To be honest, it bothered me too. So I paid a visit to the autopsy room earlier. Earlier today? Like just now, after the trial? The coroner responsible wasn't there, but I got a name. It's Dr. Gorey. Right, we haven't talked to her yet. Oh gosh, we're gonna have to do that in the next video. We might have another case of like half investigation, half trial in the next video, so I don't think we're gonna get to the trial in this one. If it wouldn't trouble you, Kazuma, if I'd shut up, maybe we would, but we'd very much like to speak with the coroner too. Of course, let's go together. The last thing I want is for anything to be brushed under the carpet. Or the rug. Scotland Yard's autopsy laboratory is behind Lowgate Cemetery. Lowgate Cemetery? By Barclay Prison, you mean? We've been there before, haven't we? Well, I don't know, actually. It's not... you know it, do you? The prison where my father was incarcerated. And robbed of his life. Kazuma. God, I'm so sorry. Well, thank you. We'll pay a visit to the laboratory later today. That was a long one. Oh my god, he has something to say about the Redhead League too? Oh my god, everybody loves this thing. I was shocked when I found out they were related to the case. The Redhead League, I mean. Yeah, those idiots, what the hell, man? Personally, it wasn't their plan to swindle everyone that surprised me. It was the fact that so many redheaded people gathered from all over London that day, that so many people fell for it. Certain great detective being among them. Wait, have we heard this already? I expect those two are in their cells as we speak, wishing they'd never dreamt up their little plan. Or maybe they're busy plotting their next one. Yep, and last but not least, of course this was gonna have something. Kazuma, this is your armband. I don't want it anymore. You can keep it. Actually, I think it's yours now. I hereby pass it on to you. Now, in case 4 of the second game. You're the defense lawyer. You have a talent for it. I've always known that you would. And now you've chosen to take that path in life. Like an idiot. As your friend, I couldn't be happier for you. Or more proud. Kazuma. So you keep hold of that. Besides, I'm a prosecutor now. That armband would have no meaning for me. Like, we're alone here, okay, so you can say anything you want. I'm really surprised how well they're writing the line here between him being my best friend and also being, like, the prosecutor. Oh, look at this. Thank you, my friend. Ah. I really don't want anything bad to happen to him or this relationship. Ah. Converse. Great brand of shoes, by the way. Your disappearance. Yeah. Going all the way back to that now. It's getting on for a year now, since what happened on the SS Beria. I think I burned... I'm trying to make a pun out of that, never mind. We were heading across the oceans from Japan to Great Britain. And then you wrote that weird Russian message on the ground. It sort of looks like Russian, I don't know. What a bizarre series of coincidences led to those tragic events. I thought I lost my best friend forever. Please tell me I didn't. I must have been unconscious for a long time. When I awoke, I was lying on a bed. It was a narrow little room. There was a posy of flowers by the pillow, and no toilet. Can you imagine? It took me a little while to realize that I was in the cabin of a ship. I slipped out of the room and headed up onto the deck. Were you already suffering from amnesia at that point? Yes. I didn't know what had happened, or where I was. There was just this voice in my head. You have something you have to do, something no one else can know about. Go to Great Britain. Your task awaits you there. What if it is like brainwashing or something? Like, it seemed like he had enough of a motive on his own to go and figure out what happened to his dad, but now he's getting a voice in his head? I mean, maybe that's all that was keeping him going, was just the thought of revenge or whatever. And that was the voice in his head, I don't know. It was a calling I couldn't ignore. It compelled me relentlessly. Out on deck, I saw that I was on a huge steamship, and we were docked in a large port. Must have been in Hong Kong, yeah. Because that's where he disappeared. Yeah, it must have been. Presumably just before they were due to carry your body off of the ship. I had no idea of the situation, but I did have the feeling that this was in some way my last chance. So I concealed myself among the disembarking passengers and went ashore. Then I disappeared into the crowded streets of that foreign port city, and I slept in a dumpster for a month, so I could plan my onward journey to Great Britain. So you could have just stayed on the ship, but maybe he didn't know the ship was going to Great Britain or something? Your journey to Britain, yeah. Just under a year ago, with all my past memories lost to me, I was left behind in Hong Kong. Everything was foreign to me. The sights, the sounds, the smells. My head reeled. I was truly at a loss. I realized now that I'd escaped as a dead man, with nothing but the clothes on my back. No money, of course. Oh, how terrifying for you. What did he do? Luckily, though, I had 2 feathers in my cap. One being your knowledge of English, I suppose. That's right. And on the back of that, I was able to pick up some work as a deckhand on a cargo ship. Eventually, after calling at countless ports, I finally arrived at Dover. That must have been some 3 months ago now. Your formidable tenacity of purpose showing itself again. I mean, the man had lost his memory and had literally nothing to his name. But he still managed to make his way to London on the opposite side of the world. Well, I could have just swam. I mean, I could have done that. I'm strong enough. Of course, I had no idea why I moved heaven and earth to get here at that point. So how did you end up becoming Lord Van Zeek's apprentice, then? No strong heart? That can only be called an extraordinary stroke of luck, really. You see, I was stopped at the border because I had no papers. They took me straight to Scotland Yard. And by sheer coincidence, Lord Strongheart was there to attend a meeting. There we go. That's when the second feather in my cap came into play. Would that have been your knowledge of the law? Yep. Exactly. Lord Strongheart was curious about an Easterner with intimate knowledge of British law. He took me back with him to the Supreme Court and assigned me to the prosecutor's office. And then 9 days ago, this happened! Oh man, you finally got your memory back after the trial involving Drebber. Man, what a ride. Yes, I did. Yes, you did! Oh, Father Genshin. I guess we'll keep going, as we're cutting it close with the time here. Ever since I first met you at Yume, you talked about your dream. Damn right. Mark my words, Renosuke, I'll be chosen as a visiting student and make my way to Great Britain someday. And that you did. Did you know the entire time about what happened to your father here? 16 years ago. Oh, here we go. Oh, man, don't. Oh, but yes, but no, but yes. When my father left on that exciting trip to Great Britain, I was just a boy. We took a photograph together the day before his departure. It's my last memory of him. But what I remember most about my father is his unswerving sense of justice. Boy, they're really playing this guy up to be a good person. 6 years after he left, a gentleman called at our family home. He told me that Genshin, my father, had been taken ill in England and passed away. Oh, kind of like what they told Susanoo about her father. Interesting. It was Professor Mikotoba, your father, Susanoo-san. Oh my, yeah, but we know because he got adopted by him after that, didn't he? Ever since then, the professor was very good to me. He even helped fund my university education at Yume. I'll be forever in his debt. Hey, no student debt, man. Can't argue with that. But nevertheless, I just couldn't bring myself to believe what he told me. Yeah. Then one day, a letter arrived at our house from Britain. There was no indication of the sender, so I opened it, assuming it was from an old acquaintance of my father. And then the will. Maybe. What I read in that letter changed my entire life. What did it say? It said that my father had been a mass murderer, and the writer cursed the Asogi name. Oh, it's from Van Zeek's. Oh, no. That's why he's after him. As a result of that letter, I found out what had been hidden from me all those years. Man. It's all leading up to the Reaper's trial. Presumably, the letter was sent from a relative of one of the victims. If whoever it was had been a... Yeah, it was, because it was his brother. Why'd I have to think about that for a second? If whoever it was had been a member of the judiciary, he could have been present at the closed trial. The letter revealed that my father had been sentenced to death, executed for being a killer. I'm so sorry you had to find out that way. Well, it's better than a text. That would have been worse. I imagine the British government did its very best to silence whoever sent that letter. But someone who knew the truth and couldn't bear the resentment was always going to be a problem. But still, it could have been written by anyone. Why would you believe such a thing? You know, the fact that he said he cursed the Asogi name, like, that points straight to one person. There was a newspaper cutting included with the letter. It was the first I'd ever heard of the professor, and his terrible killing spree. Well, what did my father have to say about the letter? I never showed it to him. Oh, he didn't? Yeah, I was gonna say, I wouldn't. But why not? Because this is my business, not his. Oh, right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Jeez. That couldn't have been easy for him, and he'd done it out of consideration for my feelings. But, so instead, I showed the letter to Judge Jikoku. Oh, yes! To the other visiting student. He faltered for the briefest of moments, but then he just laughed the letter off. But in that moment I saw it on his face. He was undeniably shocked, shaken momentarily before recovering his poise. And that man, if anybody in the world has poise, it was him. A year later, my bereaved mother succumbed to the strain of grief, and she too passed away. That's when I made up my mind that one day, without fail, I would cross the seas to Britain and seek the truth for myself. The truth about my father, Genshin Asogi. And I wouldn't let anyone stand in my way. Oh, Kazuma-sama. Oh. Okay, I'll tell you what, like, I think before we actually go to this last one, I'm actually going to stop here. I'm so sorry. I've stopped in some really bad places, so in this case, let me tell you. But yeah. So I'm going to go put my Hungry Man in the oven. I only have those like once every 6 months these days, so I'm really looking forward to it. My tummy is so excited. But yeah. Okay, anyway. Okay, so see you guys next time. Bye!